this week we have trained a lot, and our expectation is not about winning, but to bring on the beach our style and our gameplay.
They show to everyone that they are a good team. They have Urma, who was in the semi-final last season in Euro Championship. Steve and Gagliardo showed they are the good players, and will be tough tomorrow. But we are Barcelona, and we will try to do the best. I hope we can manage to stay on the first position.
All right, well, there you have it. This is mouth-watering between AS Roma and Barcelona. I, for one, am very excited to see what this match day and this match-up actually throws up for us. So let's go ahead and see who's going to feature in a game one between these two as they battle out for that top place in the group, and it's going to be Gagliardo against Alex R. Gagliardo, of course, his debut for the Romans hasn't quite gone to plan as of yet, still very much in search of his first 3 points. So he has talked earlier in the week about wanting to train with his teammates to play better, and he has been delivering on that promise by turning those defeats into a draw, at least earlier today. We'll see if he can convert that draw then into a big win for him. As for Alex R, the youngest player of the competition, he's also searching for his first 3 points as well as a Barcelona player this season. On top of that, though, the good news is there's been some positive signs. He's been creating loads of chances. He just needs to convert them. So taking a look at these two players who are relative newcomers to the competition, getting their feet wet for this match for these two clubs, it's an interesting one, isn't it? What do you think we can expect?
It is a very interesting one because now the shackles are off almost, because both of these clubs will be featuring in the knockout stages. It's just about who's going to finish the group in first place and who is going to be having to go through the quarterfinals. Because if you finish the group in first, whereas you get the bye all the way through to the semis. So very important game. Although they're both qualified, still lots to play for here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking at kind of two teams that are, you know, in terms of abilities, they're quite evenly matched, I would say. For my money, from what we've seen so far, they're very evenly matched. We've got a free score in Barcelona. We've got a kind of a resurgent Roma in terms of the way that they're grinding out performances. It's an interesting tell, but as you've said, it's going to be that top spot that's really the definition here, is that can you skip a stage? Can you play less games? And more importantly, will that impact them kind of down the stretch? If you play less games, you're going to be more fresh. Is that going to give you an easier run to the final? There's all of these different questions that we've got to kind of answer. But we still got 3 games that we've got to see. We've got to see how they play out. So we'll see who is going to kind of come out on top here. But as for the matchup, Gagliardo versus Alex R, you'd probably say two of the, I would say maybe the weaker players of their teams, but that's not to say that they are not bad players either. So again, it's kind of a show us what you can do here, because, you know, we saw with Alex last week, wasn't quite the kind of start he wanted. Gagliardo, we started to see him slowly turning the screw in terms of a good performance coming out. So now it's going to be a case of what can you do here, and that's going to be the key question, is who comes out on top here.
Well, thank you very much, Wes, and of course thanks to Semra in the studio as well, as we are moments away from kicking off our final match of Group B. It is a battle at the top of the table between AS Roma and Barcelona. You have Gagliardo, who earlier on today in the very first game of Matchday 2 was able to salvage a draw in a game against Barbosa. And on the other side, you have Alex R, who's been, well, chomping at the bit to get back in the hot seat and have his hands on the controller, Wes, because so far his season has really yet to get going.
Yeah, it has. I mean, it's our first sight of Barcelona today as well, so I'll be trying to pick through the bones to see what feature players they've chosen to incorporate into their lineups. But again, from a player standpoint, it'll be interesting to see whether the break has helped out Alex R, whether it's a case that he'll know a little bit more about his squad, and more importantly, whether Roxa and the Palma have kind of imported some knowledge onto him in terms of how to get the best out of this Barcelona team.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, Abraham goes up for the header at the near post. That Barcelona, one of 3 clubs in the eFootball Championship Pro that had a premium club pack released. So potentially we can see some of those players displayed to us here in this match. Maitland-Niles gets round his man and forces the save. And that could have been absolutely beautiful.
I think Gagliardo's first response was, I think he thought he'd found the back of the net. It's a great dummy from Maitland-Niles. Gets through the legs of a defender. It's a big save. You'll see the reaction there. I think he thought that might have been in. But you can see focus right back onto it for this corner.
Yeah, corner to come after the nutmeg, and that is why we bring a player close to prevent the driven corner coming in.
Yeah, I think a couple of players may have learnt their lessons from last week and probably had enough of my ranting about trying to block this corner.
Oh, it goes dangerously towards the goal, and Gagliardo with a bit of a wry smile. It was Abraham with the chance, but it goes wide. There were players queuing up though, and I tell you what, for Alex R, he's very lucky that one of his own players didn't turn that into his own net there.
It's the width of a bar that stops that ball from going in. That might be the reason why we saw a wry smile, but it's whether Alex can get this pass and move going for this Barcelona team. We've seen it, and we've seen the abilities that Barcelona can exhibit. We've seen it from the Palma and from Roxa. Now can we see it from Alex R to get the full trio kind of rocking and rolling with this Barcelona team.
It's always fun to see the contrast in player styles as well. You'll see Gagliardo on the right-hand side of your screen, gesticulating, very passionate player. The same goes for Stifler and Irma as well. On the side of Barcelona, it has to be said, you have Roxa, you have the Palma, you have Alex R. All don't give too much away in terms of their expression while they're playing, which is going to make for a very intriguing game to read into, I dare say. Here is Ansu Fati, though. He's been very useful for Barcelona indeed, and a strong challenge will result in a Barcelona corner.
Yeah, Alex R starting quite positive, or positively, should I say, at the first kind of junctures of this game.
Depay with the corner, and it will be another one, this time on the far side. Depay to drive it in again. Aubameyang is the target, and almost worked out there for the Catalan club, but 21 minutes gone now. Good chances from either side, but no goals to show for it just yet.
Yeah, you can see with that corner that Aubameyang, or at least Alex R, had moved Aubameyang a little bit too far forward, and as a result, it was a reaching header going backwards, which is, it's an incredibly hard shot to pull off. But, you know, again, if you're looking at players who've been kind of at the forefront of good esports within eFootball, Aubameyang is right up there.
Mkhitaryan, wonderful pass to Zaniolo, and Neto called into action, not for the first time. That new card is very dangerous from deep, almost scoring here.
Yeah, it's good manual save there. Big left boot on it from Neto in goal. You can see the wry smile from Gagliardo. You can just see it's almost a I can't believe he saved that. If you're looking for kind of body language experts at home.
Maitland-Niles with the strike. It's another boot. An advantage, Roma. The corner not dealt with at all. The goalkeeper deciding to save low with his feet. And it bounces to the eventual goal scorer. It is Gagliardo 1, Alex R 0.
But you can see that coming from the first attempt of it, where we saw the Maitland-Niles kind of chance. It's a lucky save. It's a save that it gets bounced back into danger. You'd arguably want your goalkeepers either to try and smother that ball or to parry it out of play. Instead, it goes back into danger. Mkhitaryan's there. And again, if you're watching at home, again, it's one of those opportunities where you are just slamming the shoot button and just hoping that it hits the back of the net. Gagliardo, again, like we said, won't care a jot. It's 1-0 to Roma.
Fourth goal on the season for Gagliardo, but De Jong with a double touch. This is the Alex R we saw last season. Full of confidence and using his flair players. It's a shame, Wes, we didn't get to see the replay of the celebration from Gagliardo because he jumped out of his chair so quickly. It was only the chair left in his webcam, so would have been happy to see the Gagliardo disappearing act. But the main event, of course, is on the virtual pitch. It won't be any magic shows, aside from the magic conjured up by potentially this man, Zaniolo. Aubameyang. Seems to be breaking down for Alex R as we're just 10 in-game minutes away from the interval. It just seems to be breaking down before he gets a chance to go forward. Zaniolo with a deflected strike almost working out for him then. It just needs to find a way to penetrate this Roma back line because he's trying to force things here, is Alex R.
Yeah, and curiously, you've got Aubameyang that's playing left side, again, if to maybe take a page out of the Galatasaray playbook, you'd have your physical striker in the middle, and to try and maybe nullify a little bit of the kind of defensive prowess that you'll see at the back for Roma. The likes of Chris Smalling, Ibanez, like you would try and maybe nullify that. Instead, it looks like it's just Aubameyang out wide to try and maybe feed these players in. But as a result, it's kind of, again, keeps breaking down.
So here's the updated leading goal scorers. Of course, we have Group A action to come tomorrow, so you'll see the likes of Mestre, Lotfi and co try and score more goals and creep up that table. But for now, it's the two Barcelona men to come who are topping that particular chart. You have Stifler from Roma as well inside the top 10, but half-time rapidly approaching here into stoppage time now. Free kick from Roma. It's going to be whipped in, looking for Zaniolo, and last touch came off a Barcelona man. Here is that set play again. Maitland-Niles. Diawara this time to get the strike away.
Something tells me that's a little bit of gamesmanship, because if you're trying to mark the one corner, you're completely leaving a man free on the edge of the box here. So if you're managing that corner, you're still going to have that opportunity to the edge of the box, and there you go. Oh, you can see the gamesmanship creeping in. Do you mark the one corner or do you mark the other? That's the issue you're going to have if you're Alex R, because at the moment, Gagliardo, you can see very much in confidence, very much in the driver's seat. 9 shots, 7 on target. Granted, a lot of those are probably been from corners. However, very much in the driver's seat here. No shots, none on target for Barcelona.
Let's take a little listen then, I should say, to the headsets of the players.
As you're Italian.
No comments. Second half then kicks off. And I think it'll trouble Alex R that he hasn't really gotten going so far in this campaign, but also this game one. Can that change with this attack here? Fati beats 2 men, goes for goal as well, somewhat underwhelmingly in the end.
Had the space to do a lot more with that, Alex R did, but again, these guys are making split-second decisions based on what they see in front of them.
Depay with the stunning strike! And that's the Alex R we know and love from last season. The equaliser comes, Wes, and he did not hesitate. He pulled the trigger. And this second half is going to be absolute box office.
It's like we said, acting on instinct of what's in front of you. You could see that he queued up the stunning strike before the ball had even been received. So you knew exactly what he wanted to do there. It's a brilliant strike from Memphis Depay. Thundered into the back of the net, and it's a great equaliser of Alex R. But again, it's decisive. It's what you need to have in these scenarios is, this is what I'm going to do, and I need to make sure it's executed before even the opponent can even think about it. It's a great strike from him.
1-1 then. Will there be an immediate reply as Mkhitaryan's running through? Only his second of the season, but it could be vital as Barcelona, look to overthrow Roma at the top of Group B. And that's one thing Barcelona will want to see, Wes, is Alex R start to ramp up through the gears and find form entering the knockout stages with the introduction of best of 3.
Yeah, most definitely. They'll look to see some form out of all of their players going into it. And the reason why you mentioned Roma at the top of the table is, of course, Galatasaray have played all their games now. So although they are almost de facto top of Group B, they won't stay there because obviously it's mathematically impossible for them to stay there given the fact that we've got these games going on now.
Absolutely. I think Galatasaray will be watching this and will be hoping, if my memory serves, for Roma to win all 3 games, because that would of course put them in second in the group, finishing above Barcelona. I could be wrong in saying that, but sometimes I'm right. Here come Barcelona. Oh, Aubameyang! The turnaround! The comeback kid, Alex R, enters the lead. Game 1 is 2-1 to Barca. It's that instinct again, Wes.
Yeah, it is. And it's a great first-time finish. It's not allowing the defence to set. We earmarked Aubameyang as a player of interest purely off of historic bases through previous competitions, through previous iterations of this competition. Kitted out for Arsenal, was always a potent weapon, and it proved it once again for Barcelona. And Alex R now sitting with a 2-1 lead here, and again in kind of almost untapped territory in a 1v1 scenario. We'll have to see if he has the kind of the fortitude to kind of box this out, or even more so, add to his goal tally.
Well, this is one of those games you can just sit back and admire because both players playing at their top level. Abraham potentially could have got his strike away. I believe it was Zaniolo who appeared out of nowhere to strike the ball that's set up nicely for him. And look, he just beats everyone with his reactions to the ball. The 92 rated card of Zaniolo.
Don't forget, these guys will have used the trainers that came with those packs that were there, so that they will have bolstered these players selectively. As we look over, Barcelona haven't, by the appearance of it, haven't used any of them. They've actually stuck with their original kind of lineup, at least from Alex R's perspective, has utilised the players that he used last week. So again, talks to that kind of that choice that players have to make of, do you stick with what you know, or do you switch over to potentially incorporating some of those featured players? Again, at the moment, at least, it looks as though it's paying dividends for Alex R.
Corner taken very quickly to Abraham, front post. Roma are back in action. It's another featured player on the score sheet today. Gagliardo gets his second. And it's all level now in game 1.
Well, although he's got a man stood at the corner flag, it's anticipating where that corner is going to go. If you angle it out just a little bit, it's not going to make any difference if you don't get the player in the right position. So it was, I think it was Adama Traore that's out there that was able to not block the ball. So it just depends on where he's going to be stood. And again, it's almost a lottery deciding on where you think your opponent is going to put that ball, because you can't see what the opponent's doing, so you have no idea about where he's aiming it.
That equaliser from Roma has led to changes. You can see El Shaarawy introduced there for Zaniolo. And, well, here's another super sub, Adama Traore. Lovely turn, and it's back into the lead. Alexa is back. Not only in the lead, but also in the league. The silky skills return, and his instinct is taking him through to the lead here once more.
That is an incredible piece of skill. And again, awareness to pull it off. Again, it's Adama Traore. First time spin. Oh, it's fantastic to take it away from Chris Smalling. He's left pretty much on his heels. Doesn't even know what way's up at that point. But Adama Traore certainly does. Pops it into the corner. It's a brilliant piece of individual skill. And gives Alex R the lead once more.
It just goes to show these pro esports players don't just do the fundamentals well, they do the silky stuff fantastically as well. Goal number 4 of the season. 3 of which have come in this game 1. As it stands, Barcelona are taking 3 points away, heading into games 2 and 3. And Alex R, I think now he's hit the ground running in this competition. Wants to start joining his teammates at the top of the goal-scoring charts. Here is the live group table. And, well, now Galatasaray will be thinking, OK, then, Barcelona, if you could do us a favour and win all 3 games, then that would allow us to finish in 2nd place. But for now, we'll focus on the simple stuff, Wes, and that's the eFootball in front of us. Alex R, as much as he wants to chase goals, has to be astute defensively as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you've been potent in attack. You have been skillful in attack. Now you have to nullify what's going to come back down the other end. And there's not long left on the clock here, but we've seen games violently swing before in terms of goals in late stages of games. Even today, we've seen it a lot. We may see some here, some very late drama. Who knows?
Frankie de Jong with the double touch has the strength to ride the challenge as well. Abraham, Mkhitaryan can't quite bring the ball under his spell, but he'll win it back high at the pitch, and it is wide of the base of the post. Here is the chance again, Wes. Could have been an equaliser.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity again. A little bit fortuitous. You can see Alex trying to get rid of the ball as fast as he could, or as fast as the game would allow him to. Just couldn't quite get it clear. Mkhitaryan rattles onto it, gets a shot off, just finds itself wide. Gagliardo will be annoyed that he hasn't found that opportunity. Still time here, though. Just be interested to see how he takes hold of it.
Well, Alex are still venturing forward. Pedri with the double touch. Read well there by Gagliardo. Just take a moment to enjoy the action we have ahead of us, not just in this game, as Pedri is beating several members, but is pressured well by Gagliardo, and Abraham with a lovely turn rides the challenge as well. Same does El Shaarawy! If there's a time to get an equaliser, there is no better than the 90th minute. Abraham, El Shaarawy combining for Gagliardo's equalising third.
Yeah, you can see the movement. It was the through the legs, which you'll see here, letting it run past. And again, it's fortune. It's tired legs. It's not having the ability to clear the ball because your player doesn't realise he's got hold of it. And as a result, Roma are able to capitalise, take the ball past, have a very easy opportunity in truth. Still got to pop it away though as Stefan El Shaarawy, but again, Gagliardo, Roma won't care a job.
No puede ser, tío. Yes.
Alex are so disappointed to have potentially left a couple of points on the table. Gagliardo, though, great concentration and resiliency. And, well, there's time for both of these players to find a winner. Traore, lovely skills, double touch again and again. And it will just bounce agonizingly wide. I believe the last touch came off of a Roma man, so still a corner to come. Depay on the corner will be driven in. Sergio Busquets. It's Alex R trying to keep possession of the ball for the entirety of stoppage time with past the minimum of 4 added on. And there is the referee's whistle. 6 goals between these two promising stars for these two clubs, Wes, but the points are shared.
Yeah, I think that's a fair result in truth. I think that the manner in which Gagliardo scored his third, granted it's not the cleanest of goals that he's going to have, but again, Roma will not care. They have themselves a point. They have themselves at least in the kind of pole position of this group, because again, had Barcelona won that game, they would have been level on points with Galatasaray and at the top of the table, and instead it's Roma that are kind of now a point behind Galatasaray. And again, you look at the fortune that was there, goal parried out into oncoming danger, and again, Mkhitaryan was there to kind of pop that goal in. But we saw some very good goals on the Barcelona end of things, a lot of good skill on show from Alex R. He'll be happy to at least have 3 goals under his belt. But again, it was some of the skill that we saw. A stunning strike there from Depay. And yeah, I'd say on the balance of play, it was a fair result. I think just in terms of the way that some of the goals came was slightly fortuitous.
Well, here was the go-ahead strike from Aubameyang. We saw Alex R really kind of let loose on the pitch, and it's something that I think Barcelona fans, as we start to look towards the knockout stages, will hope he can continue to do, because he found success in getting those strikes away when he felt it was necessary. There was a equaliser from Gagliardo, Abraham at the near post from the corner, but it's important for both of these players that they are maintaining form going into the business end of the season. They're both guaranteed to feature in the knockout stages, but this goal, has got to be the pick of the bunch.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, it's having that awareness of going, okay, I've got not a lot of room left to work with. I'm going to have to do something special. And again, to execute that type of skill and get the shot away and score, fantastic bit of skill there.
Well, it was looking like the points were going to go back to Barcelona, but for Tammy Abraham and some great physical work from El Shaarawy as well, off of the bench, making a real impact for Gagliardo and AS Roma. If that game is any indication of what to come in games 2 and 3, I feel like we are in for a lot of goals to come. But game 1's in the books now. It is Roma 3, Barcelona 3. And Semra, we are going to be sharing the points in game 1 between two promising talents for their respective clubs.
And I tell you what, the real winner from this game was Galatasaray. I'm sure the celebrations are still continuing over there after both of those teams just picked up a draw, and they'll be hoping that it very much continues in that same vein as we go into the final 2 games of the day. Having said that, let's go ahead and see who's going to feature then for Roma v Barcelona game 2, and it's yet again, as fate would have it, a clash of the captains, part 3. So it's going to be Urma against the Palma. Urma, don't let his goalless draw from earlier today fool you. He can catch you out when you least expect it. Just ask Kepa from last week. And whenever it comes to the Palma, well, he really is formidable, isn't he? 9 goals to his name at the top of the goal scoring chart. He's undefeated so far this season. 7 of those goals he scored, by the way, in 1 game. And he was one of the big reasons as to why Barcelona were propelled to the top of the group at the end of last weekend. We'll see if he can do more of the same today. So you would say maybe on paper he would be the favourite. But having said that, Urma, he can surprise us, can't he?
Yeah, he definitely can. And I think this is the matchup I was hoping for when we saw the schedule for today's Group B final matches, I wanted to see the two captains go head-to-head because, Wes, these are two players that really personify their kick-attacker football. He seems to go hand-in-hand with Barcelona's style of play. Similarly, on the other side does Irma. He's really passionate and fiery, and he knows how to get the best out of his Roma team.
Yeah, I mean, I know you used the line kind of last week in relation to fire and ice. These two it's just fire and fire. Both of them will want to inflict goals on each other, will want to be stylish doing so, and both of them will want to win. I know we're saying, oh well, both teams are qualified, so it doesn't really matter that too much. I can tell you probably even from experience, not necessarily from this competition, but for any player playing in these types of competitions, they'll want to win every single game they can play in.
Well, a statement of intent from Irma early on. Jan testing the manual goalkeeping skills of the Palmer, who is attacking from right to left. Of course, we have to say a big thank you to Semra in the studio, but for now, this is going to be a very intriguing affair indeed. Fati for the Palmer is shepherded out of play, but you're witnessing now the man at the top of the goal-scoring charts after 2 match days in Group B. He leads them all. The Palmer, the captain from Barcelona, has defending to do here and has completed that side of the game. But it's the attacking side, Wes, that we always give him plaudits for, because he starts incredibly strong and just keeps going.
Yeah, it's that ability to repeat what's effective. It's not necessarily to find what's effective and then do it once. It's the fact that he will repeat it again and again and again.
Depay almost sneaking in behind there, Wes, and it's a perfect example of what we were talking about.
Yeah, it's only just offside there, and again, it's working out where this defense is the weakest for the Palmer. It's trying to figure out who he attacks when going forward. But on the flip side of it, it's a case for Irma to figure out. Okay, well, they haven't included much like we saw from Alex R. Doesn't appear to be any feature players within this Barcelona team. So now it's a case of, okay, well, they're the same as last week. They must have some confidence in the players that they're playing with.
Obviously, don't want to upset the balance of their team. And here is Pedri on that far side. Strike comes back off of the woodwork. Not sure if the goalkeeper was called into action there, but either way, it is up the other end now for Zaniolo and Neto. And it's bouncing off the goal line. And I'm struggling to process what I've just witnessed, Wes, because Neto, with a goal line clearance, and the ball still coming at his goal here, Mkhitaryan tackled. Will there be a break in play for us to digest what we've just seen? Here is Jan with a potential striker goal. And finally, the defence breaks after a frantic 3 minutes. Irma is the man who says, hey, you guys should be talking about me, because I'm in the lead. It's 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of break that all down, I think it would have been fortuitous had that goal gone in, because it was running back against his own goal. It clipped off the post, rolls across the line. Neto's able to clear it. This, though, is all about skill. Getting the ball back high up the field, getting the ball into space, dummy again, gets the space and gets that attacking line. As we can see through the camera in the goal, you could see that avenue was open, and as a result, it was there for him to take advantage of.
Here
just see the replay of it. Yeah,
that was the goal line clearance from Neto as the resumption after the goal has indeed kicked off. It's the Palmer who is down 1-0 for, I think I'm right in saying, the first time in this competition this season. And it is the captain of AS Roma who is putting the league's leading goal scorer to the sword so far. Here is Mkhitaryan. Wonderful back heel, and well, Abraham hits the 1-2 punch for AS Roma. Irma is well and truly in the driving seat now. The Palmer is nowhere to be seen. It's 2-0.
Talk about, as we said, it's fire v fire. That sometimes the best form of defence is attack, and at this point in time, Roma seem to be attacking at will. Great little back heel. Again, it's a dummy. We keep seeing that as kind of almost a go-to move for a lot of these players to open up the space and to almost freeze the defender in an animation where they're trying to block something, and instead it creates an avenue, creates some space, and creates the ability that you can just pop a goal in. And it's a great finish again from Tammy Abraham.
Well, the kickoff is resulting now in a corner for Barcelona. Dembele is through. The goalkeeper's come and he's not made it his. And that is one back for the Palma. Almost immediately, Wes is able to get one back, half the deficit, and something tells me we're in for quite a few goals in this game.
Hold on to your hats. This is going to get bumpy. It's a great little 1-2. Again, the manual goalkeeping, as we saw. If you see players inch just a slight bit out of position, all you have to do, just pop it in the near post, as we see there. Great finish again. And now we have got a very kind of tantalising, a very balanced looking game here. I know it is still 2-1 to Irma, but these types of periods of the game, it can get a bit dicey, it can get a bit kind of choppy. They've got to make sure that they are smart and use that ball as best they can.
Double digits on the season. The first player to break that landmark this season. Let's see what it's done to the current standing of the group tables, as Roma would leapfrog over both Galatasaray and Barcelona. But the Palma seems in the ascendancy. Nice little drag back there from Aubameyang, and Pedri cutting inside, and well, where is this bouncing? Intervention needed at the back there from Irma. 10 in-game minutes to go till half-time. Tammy Abraham looks a real force for AS Roma. Mkhitaryan, Pellegrini's there, and Gian as well, and it's bouncing agonisingly into the goal. Roma's third comes just moments from half-time. Irma quick to reinstate his 2-goal advantage here, 3-1.
They just won't let it lie, will he, Irma? And it's a little bit of skill. It was skill opening up the space to get the shot off. Of course, though, as we've seen at least once or twice today, deflections, they almost count double in these scenarios, because once the goalkeeper is set for the save, it's very hard for them to break out of it and to try and get back across goal. You can see the Palma just a little bit wry smile, knew that he couldn't do anything about it, and as a result, Irma finds himself 3-1 to the good.
Yeah, and something tells me he's going to keep going for this, Wes, for lack of a better vocabulary and thesaurus to my immediate vicinity, because Irma wants to make a statement here, as if to say, is this your king? Is this your king? Because right now I am scoring at will.
In terms of dynamics, it's always a fun watch to see how the pro players kind of think and kind of look at each other, and you can see that, I think we saw the goal table flash up a moment or two ago, and that seems to be ever changing with as each attack happens here.
Tammy Abraham with Jean in support, and it might just bounce back through here for Jean as well. Trying to feed Abraham as best he can, and Pellegrini's arriving. And that, I think, will be the final action of the half, as Neto goes long and the referee goes to his whistle. Well, Wes, what an action-packed first half. 4 goals. Advantage Roma? Most certainly.
Yeah, most certainly. They certainly appear to be in the box seat. And again, as we kind of earmarked, again, in terms of the best form of attack for Irma at the moment, or at least the best form of defence appears to be his attack. The more goals he's putting in between him and the Palma at this stage, it means it takes the pressure off him defensively.
We saw Dembele there be tackled down in the box, but the referee not willing to point to the penalty spot for that one. That would have been a bit of a soft one for my liking. But here is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in behind here to make it 2 for Barcelona. And there is a reply from the captain. The Palma makes it 3-2 now for Barcelona. Roma still leading, but now only by 1.
Yeah, the Palma doing everything to keep Irma honest at the back there. You can see both defenders getting sucked out into position there. I think there may have been a teammate pressure called by Irma, which then pulls that defender out. And as a result, he's looked to try and gamble to get the ball instead. The Palma has found the answer to get the ball round the corner. And you can see elements, little bit of doubt potentially creeping in on Irma in terms of how can he keep him quiet. At the moment, though, it's Barca in the ascendancy for possession. You can see Irma trying to maybe calm the game down a bit, but breaks to Aubameyang.
Well, the referee's going to pull this play back. Aubameyang was fouled, so we will see Diawara into the book. The ball as well into the box is no good, but that is now number 11 of the season from the Palma. And he's not done yet. Here is Dembele. Has work to do to get points in this game. Ansu Fati turns, tries to get his strike away. Ansu Fati, Aubameyang, Depay, Pedri, Aubameyang! That is absolutely beautiful. Sublime from the Palma. And if you are wondering why he's at the top of the goal scoring charts, I mean, there's a perfect advert for it. One touch passing. He's woken up in this second half. It's 3 apiece now, Wes. Talk me through this one.
That's a gorgeous goal. It's a gorgeous goal. It's great passing ability. It's great passing play as well. It's having the foresight to find the extra ball. It's just brilliant. It's setting players off on runs. It's everything you'd want out of a goal within eFootball. It's brilliantly. It just took him completely apart there. And Irma is now staring down the barrel potentially of a draw, but he's got to come back again.
Here is Jan trying to reply immediately.
The attendance for this match was 72,300.
We still have half an hour in game to go. 6 goals. 3 apiece. Zaniolo is always threatening. There it is. Goal number 12. Head and shoulders above the rest of the league. Of course, we have Group A matches to come tomorrow, so this table may look a little different at the end of the group stages, but Roxa as well still to feature today. He could well and truly catch up his Barcelona teammates. But the focus at this moment in time is where the points will go between these two clubs in Game 2. You can see Game 1's result at the top, 3 apiece. It's a, well, very similar scoreline so far, Wes.
Yeah, it's almost as you were. It's almost as though these teams are actually equal in terms of ability. No, of course, I say that with a very much a tongue firmly placed in cheek. These guys are going blow for blow here. You can see there, in terms of the differences in tactics as well. Actually, I think I've just seen there the Palma looks like he's just called for his first featured player off the subs bench. So it'll be interesting to see how these kind of take effect. But you can see 2 different play styles, 3-5-2 versus a 4-1-2-1-2. Very interesting to see both styles of play. Wonderful save there. It even caught me unawares there.
I think Zaniolo went for the lofted finish. Neto had to be aware of it, and it's a driven corner, which will result in another subsequent. The left foot of Zaniolo towards Abraham, but it will be another corner, I believe. So The deliveries are causing the Barcelona backline to hemorrhage corners here. Third time's the charm. Short this time to Diawara. Braithwaite back on defensive duty is able to step in, and well, with 20 in-game minutes to go, is there a winner? Depay has peeled off his man on that far side, but here is Traore trying to get his running boots on, but defensively, Irma, concentration levels are good so far.
Yeah, I think looking at the way that these two players have performed, both have done themselves no end of pride out of these two, out of both of them. I think there's probably more to kind of almost download and learn for the Palmer at this point than there is for Irma, because as you said, we've seen him in a scenario that we weren't used to seeing him in.
It's not often you'll see the Palmer face adversity. His free scoring form. But he's had questions and he's answered them so far in game 2. But Irma, let's not forget, he was up at several moments in this game. He can still sneak a winner in here. Switch of the play to Dama Traore. Far away from goal, but he's getting closer with each pass. Chris Smalling steps up, but De Jong and Traore will try and sneak in behind here as well. Just sitting back and anticipating a bit of a fiery finish between these two players who have most certainly left it all out on the virtual pitch here in game 2. Mkhitaryan, no, and Jean is here for what could be the winner. A 90th minute goal to complete the hat-trick. 4-3, Roma look poised to take the points here.
It's a great little give and go to just open up the space, allows the ball in. And again, we talk about it, manual goalkeeper. If they go too far the other way, all you have to do is just slot it in the other corner. And again, it's that awareness to see it. You've got to be looking for it, that type of angle. There's so much room to score in, and that'll be very interesting to see what that does to the table, because I'm trying to imagine the table as it looks. I'm hoping we can get a live one just before the end of the game to see what it looks like. But I might be right in thinking that if Roma have won this game, I believe that might mean that they top the group and that the final game becomes a dead rubber. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but I think Roma were a point ahead of Barcelona before the games were kicked. So it'd be interesting to see how that table looks. If we can get that up on the screen, that'd be great for everybody at home to see.
Well, before we do, we'll take a little listen as to how Barcelona attempt to approach the second half here. What's left of it, anyway, into stoppage time now. What an incredible performance from Irma. 3 minutes added on.
There will be 3 minutes added time.
And that might indicate as to why Roma are starting to play out the clock here.
Well, they played out the clock and Irma played his heart out. The captain stepping up again. And it's a captain's performance from that man. A performance to be proud of indeed. Adrian Irma, the hero of Roma. 3 points taken away from the leading goal scorer, the man who looks the biggest threat in the league so far this season. It's a heroic display from the Roma captain, Wes.
Yeah, it's a captain's performance, as you quite rightly said. We had this absolute chaos that nearly turned into a goal there. And instead, Irma, you can see the wry shake of the head, but it was only moments later did he then find himself in prime real estate to score here. As you can see, Jan just opening up that space, opening up that lane to score. And it was off to the races for Irma. But this was very much a knockout, or at least a heavyweight kind of knockout contest. It was slugs from Roma, slugs from Barcelona. It was just punch after punch that came, and it was again brilliant movement there. Gave him a 2-goal lead, and again at that point we were asking what was made of the Palmer, because we'd never seen him in that scenario.
Well, at this point, 2-0 down, we were asking that very question, and it was answered just before the half-an-hour mark. But then Irma was very quick to reinstate his 2-goal advantage. 3-1 at this point. He would then go on to ship Wes 2 goals without reply. So the Palmer, it seemed, was growing into the game with these goals. It seemed as if, oh, okay, the Palmer just started slow, and then, as we see this, his second, I believe it was, go in. It seemed as if the Palmer was just going to come back and do the Palmer things and take all the points, but Irma held strong.
Yeah, I mean, that second goal from him was a fantastic goal. Fantastic goal. I described it as gorgeous for a reason, because the pass and movement there. But again, this was the killer. It was the 89th minute. It's manual goalkeeping. It's Jan who, again, with these quick thinking there. And you can see how much that means to Irma. You can see how much that meant to his Roma teammates as well. So, again, big result for him personally as well. To knock off the Palmer, to knock off Barcelona, at least in the style that he did. And you can see there just how much it means to him. Of course, that stereo, that almost has become a staple of his, blowing kisses to the camera and the fans. You can see how much that meant to him.
Well, that one took the wind out of Barcelona's sails, Semra. I tell you what, it took some of the voice out of me as well. I can feel my voice starting to go a little bit, because there were so many goals to celebrate. 7 in that one, 4-3 it ends, though, to Roma.
Man, going from a 6-goal thriller to a 7-goal thriller, I can only suspect we're going to get an 8-goal thriller in the last game of this match, but we'll take a look at that in just one moment. I want to take a moment to take advantage and deliver on the wish of Wes to take a look at the league table. So AS Roma are leading the pack, 15 points, 2 clear of Galatasaray. So Barcelona then, they are in 3rd with 11 points. As we already said earlier in the day, Arsenal, they have been eliminated. They will not be continuing for this season. So Barcelona, if they get those 3 points in this final game, they will then leapfrog Galatasaray, which means that they would finish in 3rd, the Turks. But Roma, they have a great opportunity here to extend their lead at the top and go to 18 points. They would be 5 clear then of Galatasaray, and they would go straight into the semi-finals. Having said that, so here's a quick look to refresh ourselves as to how things look in the goal scoring charts. As we saw, the Palma did his bit to extend his own personal lead. He went from 9 to 12 goals as the top scorer of the competition so far this campaign. He's followed now by Urma, who also did his bit in the last game directly against the Palma by scoring 4 and putting 4 past him for that victory. But it is looking very tasty indeed, and I'm sure we can expect more of the same, as we said, going into game 3, the final game of the day, in the final match of the day. So it's going to be Stifler against Roxa. Now Stifler, he was the only winner of that game earlier today, the match earlier today against Arsenal for Roma, and he's looking to make it 3 wins from 3 in a personal level. But obviously they're doing very well indeed at the moment. His teammates have set him up nicely going to this final game, so a little bit of pressure perhaps off for him whenever it comes to Roxa. Well, he's no pushover either. He has had a great tournament so far. We saw just last weekend that in terms of the goal scoring, well, there you had it, 7 goals. He scored 6 in 1 game as well. And he certainly will be having to do some of the heavy lifting then for the Catalans as they try to get themselves into second in the table. Potentially, we're looking at one of the toughest matchups then of the entire day, no?
Yeah, potentially so. I mean, as you said, the pressure kind of relinquished from Stifler in this next game, because Roma, they're top. No one can topple them at this point. the only thing to play for Barcelona is to leapfrog over Galatasaray. So for Stifler, it's a bit of a free hit if you think about it. You can go out there and do your best, Wes, and try and, you know, maybe pick up, I don't know, goal of the day or goal of the group stages, whatever you want to try and do. But if you don't accomplish that, it's not the biggest problem in the world, because Roma, they're already into the semi-finals.
Yeah, and that's massive for them. I mean, you know, we can underpin, you know, the performances that we've seen from Roma. Again, like you said, it is a free hit for him. However, it now will decide Barca's fate in terms of what side of the knockout draw that they will incorporate. If you jump into second, you might get a slightly favourable draw. Obviously, depending on what happens tomorrow in Group A, we're not going to know the kind of the ramifications of what we've seen today. But certainly, if you're Stifler, you'd want to carry on good form. You know, you certainly, as he's been, putting people to the sword from when he's been playing over the course of today, you'll certainly want to kind of improve and keep improving your own personal kind of record, as it were.
Well, thank you very much to Semra for her work throughout the day. We'll speak to her after the game, as Roxa trying to cut Semra's thanks short here in the opening 5 in-game minutes. It's been a long day. Lots of goals have gone in, but we're hoping for many more, as a strike from Frankie de Jong will head wide. But game 3 here. Roma already topping the group. Barcelona currently sat in 3rd position. They need a win here, Wes, to leapfrog Galatasaray above them. For now, though, Stifler, I think he has a bit of a point to prove. We mentioned maybe a bit of a free hit for him, but he wants to silence the doubters and shush the haters, as he's done week in, week out in this competition, and end with plenty of points to his name. Has some defending to do here, though, and that is a glorious lofted finish attempt. And you've always got to be cautious when you're going up against Roxa.
But he's already had one chip that's been commended. he's certainly looking to try and eye up another one by the looks of things here. But I think it's more circumstantial with that type of finish at that type of place in the game. You see there dribbling through.
Depay almost, but for some manual goalkeeping, finding the net. Pedri's here, Fati as well. This is very dangerous territory indeed for AS Roma, but it's been a very open game so far, which is what we want to see. We've seen plenty of goals with the group stages so far, but the more we get, Wes, the more chance we have of finding a real peach for goal of the day. Here is Mkhitaryan with a stunning strike, and it is just lacking the accuracy there. Almost on command, coming up with a incredible goal to contend that award.
Yeah, still those magnets have not been removed from that post. That was so close to going in. You can see Stifler kind of a little bit kind of disgruntled with the fact he didn't quite find that corner of the net. But again, positive signs for Roma. If you're Roxa as well, there's positive signs for Barcelona here in terms of the chances that he's starting to create. But again, if you are, Roma, you're looking to kind of extend that lead at the top of the group. And maybe make a statement for those who are playing tomorrow. With an eye towards tomorrow's groups, you're looking at Celtic, who've got 12 points. You could certainly come away with the bragging rights of having the most points in the group stage. That might be a feather in the cap for Roma to contend for.
Well, here comes Roxa, and for those long-time fans of the competition will remember last season he was a part of the AS Roma setup that he plays against here in game 3. So far, though, 25 minutes gone, there or thereabouts, and plenty less goals than we saw in the first 2, which I think my larynx is very happy for, but I want to see more goals regardless. We have, of course, Group A action still to come tomorrow. Then the knockout stages, the business end of the competition next weekend. For now, though, Aubameyang goes for goal early. It's been chances at both ends, Wes. It's very open so far.
Yeah, and I think given the context of the game, I think that's what we would expect here, an open game.
Yeah, Jean has a chance to stand up Abraham there. The header is off target and just a goal kick on the half-hour mark. Here is Abraham. He's been a threat all day long. Of course, new in packs this week for the Roma club selection. Here is Frankie de Jong. Aubameyang with a few fake strikes there. Not biting the bait, though, is Stifler. And, well, I think Abraham has stayed on side. Still has a defender to beat here. And, well, I tell you what, actually, Roxa defensively does incredibly well there.
Yeah, it's good defensive work from Roxa, but give the ball away cheaply there.
Yeah, a little bit too patient on the ball, but the referee will somewhat bail him out as the free kick goes the other way. And Titi then into the book, and it's Veretout standing over the ball. Crossed in, and it splays past everyone, and that one will go for a goal kick, Wes.
Yeah, you can see the thought process that was tried there. However, the execution was just not there with it. But again, positive signs for both teams here. Both teams having opportunities. Both teams trying to kind of capitalise on mistakes. That it's just that lacking that killer finish at the moment.
Aubameyang with fake strikes left and right, but once more Stifler proving equal to it. We're approaching half-time. That's a lovely long ball looking for Abraham. Can't quite bring it under his spell. And where are we going to see the first real chance of goal coming? Will it be from the Roma attack, or will it be from the men in possession right now? De Jong can maybe latch onto this one. It's a tiny little finish. It's a little bit of fortune, but the finish is just absolutely deft. It's incredible to make it 1-0 to Barcelona, and as things stand, they would leapfrog Galatasaray into second place.
Yeah, you could almost mistake that as a through ball from the Roma defender. It was that good. But again, it's ricocheted fortuitously, as we keep using that word. It's fortuitous for Barcelona to find the ball through to Frankie de Jong. As you'll see, the ball breaks here, cut nicely. It's just a touch, and it's just miscontrolled. As a result, though, it ricochets into the path of de Jong, tucks it away very nicely indeed. Roxa won't care. It's one more in his goal collection. It's one more in the goal tally for him. But more importantly, that is the goal that leapfrogs, as it stands, Galatasaray into second place.
Yeah, no chance for a reply as it comes at the stroke of half-time. Heartbreaking way to concede. Just miscontrolled by the defender, and Roxa now, I believe, 4 goals behind his teammate in first place in the leading goal-scoring charts, and he'll be chasing down his teammate here as well as he attempts to add a second to his tally here today. Busquets with a fine tackle. Seeing some errors at the back for Stifler just start to creep in. This is, as we said before, a bit more of a pressure off scenario for the AS Roma man. His team have already topped the group. No one can stop them now. For Barcelona, it's all about trying to sneak back into second place to potentially, as you mentioned earlier, Wes, finding yourself on arguably an easier quarter-final draw.
Yeah, and that's what these guys will both be thinking here now is okay, well, you know, if Barcelona have the lead, they have the ability to go, okay, well, we're going to be in a different half of the draw. Whereas Roma, they know that their fate is set. Wherever they land, it's going to be through to the semi-finals. They know their fate's set.
Oh, Mkhitaryan, lovely dummy, and well, they've just clashed heads there in the box, but Referee is unmoved. The hour mark is approaching, and this is usually around the time we see the substitutes come into play for these eFootball Championship Pro clubs. But it's been a fairly even game. We saw last weekend in Group A, there was a case where subs were queued up for a long time, but the ball just stayed in play. Zaniolo queues up a shot. Oh, Lenglet is still treating himself there. It's bouncing around the box, and it's finally cleared. That could have been a heartbreaking way to concede, and I think Roxa, he knows there. Lenglet maybe should have been back in action a bit quicker.
Yeah, there's a wry smile there from Roxa in terms of the almost eFootball pinball that was occurring in that Barcelona penalty box, but he'll be happy to see the back of it. And you'll notice with his as you can see from his back line, they're all pretty much queued up to try and be in line with the goalkeepers. And you can see his intentions for what he wants to do for this game. He just wants to box it out and literally just play defensive and just take the sting out of this Roma attack. But Stifler, on the other hand, still wanting to push forward, still wanting to ask questions of this defence. And he's still asking questions of this defence at will.
Sharawi with the stunning cross in, and Abraham is able to steer his header on target, but Neto was there to make sure it didn't end up in a goal. El Sharawi is on the ball once more. He's always a tricky customer to deal with coming off the bench for Roma. Featured as a sub in all 3 games so far. So a very regimented and defined game plan from the Romans, but here's Pedri as well. There's a stunning strike, and it's straight at the keeper. The rebound to make it 2 comes from Ansu Fati. The man on the left-hand side has been always dangerous, and he gets his goal in game 3. It's Roxa 2, it's Stifler 0.
Yeah, and we said about those stunning shots, if you're taking them first time, if you've made the decision, it's a lot easier to queue up those shots whilst this ball is in transition, getting to that player. It means that they don't take an additional touch. It means they don't have to set themselves. Instead, it just happens first time. And again, it's a good save for the goalkeeper, but it's just handling for the goalkeeper that's just parried it into trouble, and Ansu Fati's there to sweep it home.
Well, Aubameyang will be into the book, but Roxa continues to chase the Palmer down, and his second means I believe he's only 3 goals behind his teammates.
Okay, yes.
9 goals on the season so far from the new signing. And there it is, 3 goals behind. Barcelona, this attack has been potent. And if they can get Alex Zar on the same page and utilising the squad as well as the 2 top leading goal scorers so far have, Barcelona are going to look very dangerous in the knockout stages.
Yeah, I think so. If you've got all players firing on all cylinders, I mean, you know, as much as we saw the Palma lose 4-3 in the last game, that's not a bad game. Like, he didn't play a bad game. It wasn't like he's been, you know, skittled completely. Instead, it was just 2 players going at each other.
Oh, Fati has skipped past his man, has seen Aubameyang at the back post arriving. A chance now for Stifler. Has El Sharawi in space. Tammy Abraham is here as well, but defensively, Roxa giving absolutely no space. Here's the league table as things stand. This would push Galatasaray down into 3rd. They still would qualify for the knockout stages. As we said before the match, job done for Roma. They have topped the group regardless of the result here. But Stifler would love to get another goal. Here is Mkhitaryan, and it will creep in. With a little bit of time left on the clock, Stifler is on the board. It took 87 minutes. But it is now just a one-goal game, Wes. 2-1.
Yeah, 87 minutes on the clock and one valuable deflection. As we'll see here, you see he opens up the space, gets the ball into the box. It just takes a slight deflection off the defender, alters the course into the back of the net. As you'll see momentarily, you can see you squinting again with your cataracts. As you'll see there, just takes a nick off the defender, bit of top spin, takes it into the back of the net. As you can see from the chuckle from Roxa, he knows what's happened there. And you can see there he's annoyed at the pass that didn't quite pull off to get himself out of trouble there. But you can see there Stifler making tactical adjustments, wanting to maybe try and sneak an equaliser in. And that would certainly adjust the table once more if that does happen.
Yeah, it certainly would. I think all Galatasaray fans will be rooting for Stifler here. Of course, I'm going to leave it up to you, Wes, to keep an eye on the subs here because, as you said, my eyesight, it's not what it used to be.
Well, you can see more of the adjustments on the left-hand side from Roma. It's the adjustments of the individual tactics. It's to make sure you've got players enough forward. But as you can see on the bottom of your screens, both players employing a defensive mentality to try and keep their players back to stop counter-attacks. But it won't stop players flying forward here.
5th of the season for Stifler, and he wants more. Mkhitaryan has dummied his man. And he's won himself a throw-in as well. The referee's assistant says 2 minutes additionally to be played. Is that enough time for Stifler to make some Galatasaray fans incredibly happy here? And well, I think this has been called for offside. You can see 3 members standing offside from the front line. So this will gift possession back to Barcelona and to Roxa. Aubameyang wins the header. He won't get to the second ball, but it will trickle out of play and confirm the result. Barcelona taking the victory, taking the 3 points, which will take them into second place in the group. It ends Roxa 2, Stifler 1. Roma still group winners. Regardless of the results, you can hear them talking about their campaign so far.
Here for the interview.
Overall, Roxa has done the business. He's got his team's 3 points that were required to put them in second place, Wes.
Yeah, and that was the key here. As much as it was a dead rubber for Roma, it certainly wasn't that for Barcelona. Again, it was De Jong with that slight bit of fortune that gave them the lead just on half-time. You see a big deflection off of a heel, which then plays the ball in. It's a good first-time control finish, mind you. Still has to be there to be hit. And again, it was the stunning strike that forced the goalkeeper error, which then forced the ball through to Ansu Fati, who wrapped it up for 2-0. And then there was just a slight question that was asked from Roma in terms of their goal that they just about got a hold of. But as you'll see there, it was Ansu Fati that was there. It was ready to get onto it. But it was this chance here and this goal here that really kind of set the alarm bells ringing for Barcelona. They had to kind of shore it up very quickly. But of course, it was too little too late for Roma.
Yeah, it was a nervy final few in-game moments. I, as you said, don't have my contact lenses in. I'm not sure if there was a deflection on that last one. I'm going to take your word for it. But Semra, the important thing for Barcelona is that they were able to get the win 2-1 in Game 3, which now elevates them into second place now that Group B is all done and dusted.
That it does indeed. They really have met their match, Barcelona, haven't they, in AS Roma? They've been very impressive in these opening 2 weekends of the season. We'll take a look at how it all finalized in the group table in just a moment. But for now, we're just going to focus on this final match between these two heavyweights, between Roma and Barcelona, just to remind ourselves of those results. High scoring in just about every single game. Goals galore. It was 3-3 in Game 1. It was a 4-3 victory in Game 2 for Roma. And then Barcelona, they were able to climb their way back into this one. But as you both said going into it, it was a bit of a dead rubber situation in the sense that Roma had already wrapped up their place as leaders of the group. So it was only down to Barcelona, the Catalan outfit, to really get themselves into second in the table, which is exactly what they did. It was a scintillating final match of the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, 8 goals across the 3 games from both clubs. So lots of goals scored, Wes. Arguably the centerpiece of this result is got to be the win from Irma, taking down the leading goal scorer of the entire group stages so far, the Palmer. He outstruck him, I suppose you could say, for lack of a better term, 4-3.
Well, like I said at the time, it was landing punches on each other at will. It was a case of, 2 goals. I think it was 2 goals in 6 minutes. Then there's another one after 3 minutes from, 3 minutes later from the Palmer. It was back and forth and back and forth, and eventually it was Irma that decisively struck. I think it was in the 89th minute, and that proved the vital result for Roma to get themselves to the top of the table.
All right, well, let's zoom out then, shall we, and take a look at the entirety of the day. And by doing so, we're going to analyze a little bit what you guys thought about what we saw here. And going from top to bottom, obviously, Roma with a brand new template, all new squad players. Well, they've shown that in their debut season altogether, they really can hang with the big boys. Barcelona, despite all of their goals, it just wasn't enough to get them into first in the table. But second, still pretty good enough. When it comes to Galatasaray, 2 new changes, personnel in that side as well. It was enough to get them through to the next round. Arsenal will be, unfortunately, saying goodbye for now. But Wes, I believe you are with the team captain. So let's go ahead and have a listen to what they have to say.
Yep, thank you very much, Semra. We're here with Roxa. Roxa, congratulations. It is nice to see a smile on your face. There was quite a few chuckles from you during your game there with Stifler. How important was it for you guys to get second place in this group?
Yeah, it was important to try to be at least second, because our first goal was to be the first in the group, but we didn't have luck, to be honest. And